On this edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
I had established myself, especially at the Players' Championship.
You developed a certain relationship with a guy by the name of Michael Jordan.
Finally do it and hoisting that trophy, right? And all I could do was look at the names on that trophy. I actually played with Arnold Palmer. Played with him in the PGA as defending champion.
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who live those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast.
Welcome to another edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher. I'm joined now by a six-time PGA Tour winner, a guy who made his first PGA Tour win a major championship, the 1988 PGA Championship, Jeff Sluman. Slew, it's awesome to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Anytime, Justin. What's going on? Where are you?
Nothing. I'm so excited. We got to work together for the first time in 2019 at the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. And the first time we actually got to meet was before then playing Cal Club together with Mark Brooks. That was so cool.
I love that place. Kyle did an unbelievable job with the renovation and one of my all-time favorite places, really. I mean, I'd only seen it a few times until then. And if I'm ever in that area, that's one of the ones that go out and try and play, right?
Without a doubt. And people don't realize it's like 8 minutes from SFO.
Yeah, there's one part on the golf course, if you remember, you can actually see the runway at SFO, which is kind of crazy.
It is, to have that good of a golf course right there. It's wild. And what's even wilder about that story is I believe that you and Brooksy had played a Champs Tour event in Japan and flown over from Japan to San Francisco. So you played a round in Japan and a round in the U.S. on the same day.
I did that. I did that another time on my birthday, and that was I got off the plane, didn't figured to go out and shoot 100, as we would say. And I played so good, it was ridiculous. So, anyways, golf is full of surprises, and that was one of the surprises, that you could get off a plane after traveling 24 hours and playing in another country and still play well.
Yeah, it's amazing what you guys are able to do, because us humans, we can't do that. I have a hard enough time driving a couple of hours and trying to break 80. But you mentioned surprises, and I said your first PGA Tour win was a major championship, 1988 Oak Tree Golf Club in Edmond, Oklahoma. You'd already been on the tour for about 8 years or so, hadn't been able to break through. For you, going into that, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm not meaning to correct you, but
okay, no, please.
I had been a pro for 8 years, but definitely not on the tour.
True, yes.
But I played a little bit in '83, lost my car, didn't get it back in '84 after playing in 1980, 81, 82, Asian Tour, jump in your car, play anywhere, play everywhere you can. So I got a little taste in '83. Got my card back in the fall '84. Went out and kept my card in '85. Won the Tallahassee Open, ironically in where Florida State is.
Yeah.
And I never played that golf course any good at all.
That's crazy.
During qualifying or anything, and then you tee it up in '85, and I shot 365s, and I think win by a shot or two. I forgot what it was, but nice week. So I kind of had established myself at that point as maybe an up and comer, and played really good in '86. If you're looking at a graph, career's going on the upswing, and then '87 was my second Players Championship. And I lose that in a playoff to Sandy Lyle. But I did everything you're supposed to do to win the tournament. I hit quality shots coming down the stretch. I didn't pump one in the water on 18 to lose by a shot or anything. Actually birdied 18 to force a playoff. So I felt like, this was really my second full year, because 80, 85, played a little bit, and then once I won Tallahassee, I played a lot. So, maybe it was really my third full year. So I had established myself as, I can play this game. I can win out here, especially at the Players Championship. If you ever saw the list of players in '87 that year that were near the lead from Norman, I mean, all the top players were there, and I fell on the 75th hole actually in the playoffs. So
Okay, so let's go back to that '87 players.
Yeah.
So you have all those players in the field, the top players. You mentioned Greg Norman, and you birdie the 72nd hole. I believe the 18th hole is harder than the 17th hole.
Yeah, by far.
Like, I mean, the
Not even a
17th hole is a
contest.
wedge.
Yeah.
And the
You got your
18th
name on your
hole,
bag. You got your name on your bag. You're supposed to hit the wedge or 9-iron, right?
yeah, and the 18th hole, I mean, you have water the entire way up the left side. There's no easy shot.
It's a lottery. I mean, anything can happen there, right? And I kind of looked at that as Saturday's round. I was right in contention, and I got up and I hit it just like you're supposed to, 8 miles to the right. Kind of chop it out. I believe I make 5 to finish. And I went home and talked to my coach, Craig Harmon, and I said, you know what, Craig, if I'm in this position tomorrow, I'm going to take that 3-wood. I'm going to aim it down the right center. I'm going to hit a hard bullet draw down the middle. And I had prepared myself for this. That's part of the learning curve, right? Mm-hmm. Prepared myself. And Sandy and I, it was going to be Sandy or myself, Sandy Lyle. And we were tied going into 18. And I hit this hard bullet down the middle. Pin was back left. Sandy kind of he had a famous 1-iron, ping 1-iron at the time, and kind of hooked it around and in the right rough. Then he hit this high sweeping hook that just missed the green, but it was on the fringe, pin high about 40, 45 feet. And I cut a little 5-iron in there about 12 feet left of the hole on the back left.
Wow. Time out. Yeah. You went left to the hole.
Yeah.
And the water's left.
I hit a nice shot. I mean, it was a good solid. I had a lot of confidence in my swing and where the ball was going to go. Sandy hit this putt, and another learning moment. I was like, well, he's not going to make this, right? He's 40 feet, 45 feet. And he hit it, and I said, oh, it looks like a good putt. Oh, it looks like it's going to get within 3 feet. And then as it got closer, I said, oh, my God, he's going to make it. And boom, falls in. So now it's a refresh in your brain, because I'm thinking I'm going to have this putt to win.
Yeah.
Now I have to make this putt to go into the playoff, which I did. We started on 16. There's a lot of strange things that happened in this playoff. And kind of the first one was we didn't knock it on in 2, and the pin was on the back part of the green. And anyway, Sandy's got about a 2.5, 3-footer. And to this day, even watching on replay, I don't know how this ball went in.
Really?
It kind of lipped low and went around the cup and fell in. I mean, which would have been all right by me. And then the next hole, he, was typical Sunday pin placement at Players on 17 on the right bottom shelf. And Sandy hit about 35 feet left. And I took dead aim at it, and I thought I made it. And it was about 5 feet short of the hole. And to this day, I'm kind of shocked that it wasn't even closer. Wow. Sandy lagged it up, and I'm getting ready to putt, and everybody starts booing me. Yeah. Kind of strange, right?
They wanted more of a playoff?
Well, I stepped back, and some overserved patron decided for $20 to jump in the water.
No way.
Yeah. So it took about 5 minutes to fish him out. And then I missed the putt, and then Sandy wins on the next hole.
How flustered were you with that when that happened?
Well, It's something that's probably never happened in golf, right? Can you remember any instance like that?
No, I mean, frankly, I'm petrified of the water, so there's no way that I would ever jump in because I think there's a gator or a water moccasin, so no way.
Right. Exactly. But he jumped on in, and I still had a chance to make the putt. That's the bottom line, to regroup. And I hit a tentative putt, missed it on the right edge, and next hole I don't get it up and down. Sandy makes par, and off and away. But
So, okay, so I want to know, like, the sportsmanship side of things. Golf is this game, this gentleman's game, and you're supposed to have this honor about you. Did Sandy say anything to you, like when that guy jumped in, like, dude,
you
I'm
know
sorry?
that was actually kind of one of the sad parts about the whole deal. I've always had a great relationship with Sandy, and for the not the longest time, but for a while, I think he thought I was mad at him, and I was never mad.
Yeah.
Sandy's an unbelievable gentleman. He was one of the top players in the world at that time, and it was just one of these circumstances that he had nothing to do with it. Just that's just the way it ended up, and we finally had a talk. I was like, I'm never mad at you. I mean, you played great golf, and you did everything you're supposed to do to win. And I was disappointed at my more than anything at my that I couldn't take a deep breath after the 5-minute wait to get the guy out of the water and still make the putt.
Yeah.
And that's on me. It's not on the guy jumping in the water. It could have been a rain delay. It could have been anything. If you're just about to make it and the ball's rolling in and the guy runs off from the green, which couldn't happen there, but
Right.
and knocks the ball away, and they say, well, now you got to putt it again because we didn't see it go in, then you got a right to be mad.
Yeah.
But in this case, I mean, I still had all the opportunity in the world to make the putt, and I didn't do it.
So, okay, so you go on to lose the next hole. You lose that Players'
Yeah.
Championship, but then in '88, you bounce back. What did that Players' Championship do for your confidence?
Well, it did a lot for your confidence, but I think it also made me a little tougher. And, maybe that's what, got me through in the last round, playing with
You mean the
Faldo.
65 in the final round?
It was pretty low. Could have been a lot lower. Oh, yeah. I really could have. It was
Really?
honestly an amazing round of golf. I hesitate to say, had I putted really well, it could have been 60 or 61. I mean, it was.
So would you say it was the best ball striking round of golf you've ever had?
No. But one of the top 10.
Wow. Dude, Slew, that was a quick no, too. So you just said you could have gone low, like 60, 61 on the Sunday of a major, and it wasn't your best ball striking round. That's crazy.
I mean, it was a great ball striking round. But you said the best? No.
Yeah.
Not but probably top 10.
So, all right. So the guy that's you're going against in that, I guess, is you beat Paul Azinger by 3, shooting
Correct.
that 65. You get your first PGA Tour win. It's the major championship. Just what's that feeling like? The emotions, the relief, the excitement. What is it?
Well, relief to finally get a win. I had led Dallas that year and didn't play well in the final round. And I had my brothers fly down and the CEO from Paychecks come in and all that. So, that was disappointing. But to finally do it and hoisting that trophy, right? You're sitting there like this. And all I could do was look at the names on that trophy. See Walter Hagen, who was also from Rochester. You see Jack Nicklaus. You see Lee Trevino. You see Raymond Floyd. You see all these unbelievable names. And the fact that my name's going on there and it's not coming off for the year 1988 that was one of the most overwhelming things for me. It wasn't relief or anything, winning and finally getting that done. It was, wow, this is a nice piece of history, right?
Yeah.
This
I've
isn't
never.
the Podunk Open that, maybe loses a sponsor and doesn't exist in 5 years. This is the PGA. It's big time.
I've never heard anybody say that when they looked at it and they saw the names, the impact that had. That's such a really cool thing to think about. Like you join this elite, illustrious group, and your name is on it forever.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
It's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's wild, and from then on, no matter what happens in your career, you're a major champion.
Correct.
So what does that do for you? Because then you go on to start winning more and more, but just having that known wherever you go, it is major champion Jeff Sluman.
It's pretty cool when they announce when you're on the first tee, and that's how they announce you as a, 6-time winner, whether you're a 100-time winner, but they always say major champion, and that's really nice. I mean, you would say growing up how I grew up, and I was an above average junior, but nothing great. I didn't get any scholarships. I went to our community college in Rochester, and so I wasn't deciding whether it was going to be Oklahoma State or Southern Cal or anything. Trust me on that. To get to that level was pretty darn good.
I would say so. Like you said, you grew up in Rochester, and for those of you who don't know, Rochester, New York is not exactly a golfer's paradise. You
At
have
least for
about
weather. I mean, they've got
right.
great
You've got great
golfers.
courses,
Yeah.
great courses, but you have about 4 months out of the year to take advantage of those courses.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I golf 4 months of the year and bowled about 9 months of the year.
Wait, bowled?
Oh yeah, that was my sport. I was thinking about turning pro when I was about 19 or 20.
Shut up.
Oh yeah,
Wait, any perfect games?
I had them back to back in practice, and that's when bowling used to be more difficult. It's pretty easy now.
You bowled back to back perfect games?
Yeah, my best score in league was 779. I had to shoot 300 to shoot 800 when I was 19, and I haven't bowled 10 games since what I'm describing. I was at the bowling alley, and it was a scratch league, and I wasn't in it, but they wanted me to substitute, so I didn't have my ball, so I used a buddy's ball, got some alley shoes. I went out and shot 235, 265, and I said, well, if I shoot 300, I get them both. I get 800, which is more difficult than shooting 300 because you got to average 267.
Yeah.
And I had the first 8, and the whole bowling alley was silent and I threw it, and I center cut right in the pocket and left what they call a ring in 10, spared that, and then struck out. So it was one pin away.
Holy cow. Wow, look at you. I never knew that you were the bowler, and you've never gosh, golf is a game where you hear about people hustling each other, right? Like, sandbaggers and this and that. You could just go up to a bowling alley and take on some random dude and go out there and shoot, roll at 250, no problem.
Well, back in the day, yeah, not anymore, that's for sure. Bowling has changed. I love still watching it. Most of the bowlers now are two-handed bowlers. Very few guys use one hand. They use the two-hand style by Jason Belmonte. He brought it over from Australia, and it's a powerful way to bowl now. And I was watching bowling just the other night, and there was only one guy that was using one hand.
Okay, this settles it. I want to make this happen, Slew. I know you know a lot of people. I want to see you on the bowling lane with Mookie Betts.
Oh, he'd kill me now.
Well, start practicing.
I had a bowling alley in my old house in Chicago.
And you didn't bowl?
No.
Why not?
I put it in because I thought everyone would want to come, my daughter and all the friends, and they did. But if the lane broke down and I was away, they couldn't fix it. So that was part of the problem. So anybody watching this thinking about putting a bowling alley in their house, remember, somebody's got to fix it.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Chicago, so we're going to go off track right now. You developed a certain relationship with a guy by the name of Michael Jordan. I believe you played some golf with him.
I sure have.
I believe you went to many games
I
to
sure
see him
did.
play live. What was it? What's the experience being a major champion and playing with the greatest athlete of all time?
That's a good question. It was always fun to be with him and play golf. Probably played half a dozen times. This was more when he was starting, just getting into golf. And we all know how passionate he is about golf. He'll play 54 holes if he can, even if he had to play a game that night, a playoff game. That was his release. I mean, he was absolutely crazy, and that. But he was a student of the game, and he did it and got better and better and better just with reps, more repetition. I mean, the more you do something, supposedly the better you get at it. And he certainly has. I haven't played with him in a long time, quite frankly. Hopefully, now that I'm down here in South Florida and he is, we'll get together again at some point. But I understand his game's obviously vastly improved, and that. But it was amazing. I hit second row seats on the foul line on the second three-peat, so 96, 97, and 98. Didn't miss when I was in town. Never missed a game. My wife and I had 2 seats, and boy, we loved going to those games. And it was fun. I'd get there like most people. The stadium was probably 3/4 full an hour before the game to watch warm-ups and all that stuff. And then we had a great introduction with the lights off, and he was always introduced last and all that. So it was really a wonderful time to be a sports fan in Chicago, and especially having those seats. That was even better.
And by the way, you said those seats 96, 97, 98. Staying in Chicago, 98 was the home run race with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about being there prime time.
Yeah, it was popping. The whole city, was great. I honestly can't remember how the Blackhawks or the Bears were. I mean, it was this huge machine, right? I mean, it was hard to focus on 5 teams. And that was really an exciting time to be around there, because the home run race got kind of picked up in right as the end of the Bulls
It was
playoff
June.
run. It was just June, so there you go, went straight in.
Man.
So the city was alive.
Okay, so the best game that you saw in person in those seats was what?
One of the most memorable ones was I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Orlando came into town with Shaq.
Was that Shaq and Penny?
I think Penny was still there. We had Rodman, and he was Rodman was an unbelievable player and a student of the game, but he was getting under their skin. I think Horace was there. Horace Grant left the Bulls to go to the Magic, and in the whole stadium, it was probably 200, 300 guys dressed up as Santa Claus, which just had this surreal look to it. And it was just so much fun, because Rodman did something to get under either Shaq's skin or Horace's, and somebody got tossed out, and Rodman's laughing while all this is going on, and the Bulls just blew him out. But it was an electric kind of atmosphere there. Then the playoffs were totally different, right?
Yeah.
But regular season game, that was a pretty cool cool one to go to. I mean, it's just because you're not expecting to see Santa Claus, let alone 2, 3, 400 Santa Clauses in the arena spaced around.
This may sound crazy, but you said regular season. The playoffs were a whole nother thing. So the golf season is right in the heart of the NBA Finals time. Was there ever a conflict with you playing in a tournament versus going to the NBA Finals game in Chicago?
I didn't see the finals games because I was at the U.S. Open every year, which was good for me, but sad for me. It's terrible. I didn't have any trouble giving the tickets away though.
I wouldn't think so.
But yeah, it was just kind of one of those things that timing is everything in life, and so I had to miss a lot of those games, but certainly watched them, taped them, and most of the time they were on at night, so your round was over. You'd go either, watch them on replay, but most of the time they were still live.
Yeah. Okay. And I know everybody listening and watching would hate me and maybe never tune in again if I didn't ask, when you're playing with Michael, even when he's learning the game, is he saying, "Hey, Slew, what's the game? We're putting money on this"?
Well, at the time, I'll say this. Michael obviously has a lot of pride, so he didn't really give you his real handicap at the time, and he's learning.
Mm-hmm.
So if he was say an 8 or a 10, he'd say he was a scratch player or a 2. I mean, really, I couldn't lose.
Yeah.
Under those circumstances. So why would I want to gamble, right? It didn't make any sense, and I'm not that gambling type that goes out like. I know there's a few players here in South Florida that they go out and play big money games with them, and that's fine. That just wasn't really my style. So we just played and had fun and talked about different things, but no money really exchanged hands. Although we did play some gin together, and he said to me one time, "You don't give me any cards." I said, "Well, I thought that was the game. I'm not supposed to give you hot cards. I'm supposed to give cards that are safe cards." He kind of liked my sense of humor.
Yeah.
For stuff like that.
So it's funny because you've had all these experiences with him, and that's cool. I had one bucket list moment where I got a chance to have dinner with him, and it was in Portland, Oregon. It was a total surprise, and we went to a tapas restaurant, and I'm in the middle, and he's sitting in the corner, and all the food is coming to me, right? So I'm like, "Hey, Michael, do you want some?" He's like, "No, I'm okay. Yeah, sure, I'll have some." But he orders the pork chop, and the pork chop is the last thing to come. So I look to the waiter. I'm like, "Hey, is the pork chop almost ready?" And he's like, "Yeah." And MJ's like, "It's okay. No worries, no worries." So when the pork chop comes, I'm like, "Oh, over there, over there." So again, a tapas restaurant, they give you serving utensils. I look over at Michael, and he's got the serving utensil and a knife eating the pork chop. So me just being me, I go, "Hey, Michael, next time you might want to ask for the big fork." And he looks down and he's like, "Said I wasn't sharing." And everyone's like, "You said that to Michael Jordan?" And I'm like, I think I blacked out afterwards. But yeah, I was just being me, and I think that's what I get is that you're just being you with him, and that's why you got along.
Exactly. He said one time we were playing a Butler, and he hit a 3-wood out there on the 16th hole, and I had a 2-iron at the time. I don't own a 2-iron anymore. And I busted it out there. He looks at me and he said, what are you using a 2-iron for?" I said, "Well, that's all I got to hit to beat you." And he kind of double take, and we go down there and I hit it past his 3-wood. And he's just shaking his head like, "I don't understand this game." I mean,
Yeah.
As big as he is and strong, and I I can't do it now. but I did it then, and we just had a laugh about that.
That's so good. Could you sense his competitiveness?
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't want to lose a tiddlywinks though on any athletic endeavor.
Did it ever rub off on you that his competitive nature to you, to the game of golf?
I think I was always internally very, very competitive. Let's face it. If you've played the tour for 35 or 40 years, me, 150 other guys on tour every week, and you're uber competitive.
Yeah.
You've been raised playing golf, and you've been successful, and people have told you you're going to be great, and da 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 da. Well, there really, as it turns out, only going to be one or two alpha dogs, right? Everybody else is still very competitive, and when they get their chance, can they take advantage of it? And you'd say, who would you say is the alpha dogs now? You got to think it's Scheffler and Rory.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
back in my day, it was Curtis. Man, he was tough. You did not want to face him coming down on Sunday because he hated to make a bogey more than anyone in the world. I mean, that's what made him great. That's what made him the superstar that he was, and all the wins in that. There was a lot of tough guys out there, but off the golf course, you might not sense it, but you better have 100% belief in exactly what you're doing, or you're not going to be successful in golf.
So who else besides? Okay, so if you're going to say there's one or two alpha guys, you mentioned Curtis. Who's the
Well,
other?
Watson was unbelievable. Johnny Milton was a great front runner. Of course, you always have Jack. If things broke Jack's way in his career, he probably has 30 major wins. I mean, he was that good.
Well, yeah, he had 18 runner-up finishes.
Something crazy like that, right?
Yeah, 18 majors and 18 runner-up finishes.
Right, and then there's the third and fourths where you've played well enough to win. So, I those are the guys that kind of I was around, right?
Yeah.
Faldo was a killer. He got that lead. He didn't spit the bit. He was great coming down the stretch, hitting quality shot after quality shot. And those are the guys that he's not going to mess up. I got to go out and make some birdies. And I think that's what happens with those guys. They put so much pressure on who they're playing with if they get into that flow that this guy's not making any mistakes. I got to go out and really win this thing. It's not going to come back to me.
Right. So we talk about it. I talk about it a lot when I'm doing a golf tournament. If there's a Scotty Scheffler, if there's a Rory McIlroy there on the leaderboard, not the leader, but on the leaderboard within 4 or 5 shots. When you have those alphas, how apparent, aware are you of those guys? And are you going like, crap, these dudes are lurking?
Yeah, you better be aware. If you're not aware, they're going to just run you over. They don't do it every time, of course, but they do it more often than not. And they're going to put some pressure on you, and you're going to see what you got. Because they're going to get the fives most of the time. And, look what Scotty did last week in Dallas. Absurd.
Ridiculous.
And Rory wins the Masters, makes 4 double bogeys. How resilient can you be? And he's both of those two guys are at a much higher level than anybody else right now. My opinion.
Speaking of Rory winning the Masters, have you ever witnessed more of a roller coaster of emotions on a Sunday of a major than that?
No, and I was there doing holes 4, 5, and 6 for the Masters for CBS. And then, he had one of the best shots I'd ever seen on the 4th hole. That's, not even a highlight in his round, but I'm telling you, it was so good. It was 233, 231 or something, 230 over the bunker. And if you missed it to the right, it's going to go to the top. You're going to have this impossible putt to get close. And he stuck it in there, and the greens were firm about 8 feet to the left of the hole. and I almost jumped out of my seat because you could hear when it hit the green, you know. And we were used to seeing a lot of balls maybe hit close to there. You could hear the thump, and they go to the back ridge, and his just looked like a wedge coming in soft. I looked at Verplank and Dave Fleming and said, "This is one of the best shots I've ever seen."
And by the way, you had a hole in one on that hole.
I did, and the only one in Masters history.
Like, that's insane. And that shot right there is one of the best you've ever seen.
Ever seen, yeah. I mean, what did Hogan say? If you hit it 3 feet, it's a good shot or under, but if it goes in, you're a little bit lucky. So,
and if I'm not mistaken, that was coming off. Well, obviously, we know what he did on the first hole. And then the second hole, he doesn't take advantage of. And I mean, to come back there, he loses the lead and he bounces back at that fourth hole. That was huge.
Unbelievable. It might have been one of the that's the first shot you really see at the Masters that you better hit it right in the center of the club face. You can kind of get around the first 3 holes with being a little nervy, a little, tentative, and you can work around. But you get to the fourth hole at Augusta, game on, and you better hit it in the center of the club face and hit it exactly how you've planned, or it's not going to end up close to the hole.
Okay, so I said this, and I'm wondering your take. I was actually getting physically sick watching. Like, I was getting nauseous.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Because I didn't want to think what was going to happen if he lost that. Did that ever cross your mind? And if it did, what do you think would have ultimately happened with Rory?
Oh, I wouldn't even go down that road, wouldn't venture to guess, but I was nervous for him as well. I thought he would win. I didn't think he'd win the way he did. And a certain part of you says, I gotta kind of feel a little, not sad, but a little feel bad for Rosie.
Right.
He goes up and makes 10 birdies on Sunday, and it's a razor's edge there. I mean, if you take every gamble to try and hit it close to make a run like Rosie did, usually it doesn't pay off. This time it did, and he played spectacular all week. He loves the golf course, as history says. But it was Rory's time, and I felt so happy for him. To win the Masters, that was his childhood dream. But then to win it, to complete the Grand Slam, to be one of the 6 players to ever complete the Grand Slam, it was. I think the golf world just took a collective sigh, like, right?
Yeah.
And I think Rory's. I read something about in the press conference. Basically, he said, "So what are you going to ask me next year?"
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, which I thought was a really fun, cute response.
It was so good, and what he said about the relief and the emotion, I can't think of another win that had a bigger significance with all those roller coasters, all that at stake, than that. The only thing that I can actually compare it to is 2016 World Series and the Chicago Cubs having the lead, losing the lead, having the rain delay, and coming back and winning and ending the drought from 1908.
Yeah, I'll go with that. But as far as golf, as far as emotions, the only thing that I can remember even being close to that was 1986. Jack winning the Masters at 46 years old.
Right.
And the whole golf world was like, wow, and emotional about that. Those are the 2 most emotional moments, even as a tour player, that I can remember. Mm-hmm. For me, cheering on somebody else.
So you were cheering on Jack. You were rooting for him.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. Remember Bob Tway he said he was in the group either ahead or behind Jack. And he said we had to plan our swings on the back 9 once the cheers got going and Jack started making birdies after he hit. You could tell. He said it was so loud. So Augusta, there's no place like it, right? The cheers ring through those woods, and it's amazing.
It is so special, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we talked about the hole-in-one you had at the fourth in the first round, 1992. You tied for fourth that year.
Yep.
That 92 year for you was pretty damn good.
It was a very good year.
I mean, then you go to the U.S. Okay, so you tie for fourth at Augusta. You go to Pebble Beach, and you finish second in that. I mean, so you have two top 5 finishes at 2 iconic places in the golf world.
Yeah, and then, well, 92, I lost Pebble Beach Invitational in a playoff to Mark O'Mara. Go to the Masters, finish fourth there, and then go to the Pebble Beach U.S. Open the same year, finish second. And then I have a top 10 at the PGA, or maybe 10th or 11th or 9th. I don't know, but it was a well-rounded year for me in the majors. You know, but I would say one thing. I really thought my game would travel well and play well over at the British Opens or the Open Championship. I never played worth a darn over there. It was always frustrating because I really thought I could play that style of golf course and figure it out. I like to hit the ball low and stuff like that, but I never got it done. I don't understand why. It's a little disappointing.
Were you distracted by the wine over there?
I was not distracted by anything over there. I just never got a feel for the game. Kind of crazy.
It is weird. I mean, considering where you grew up playing in those kind of elements, the wind, the cold, and like you said, you like to hit the ball low. You would think playing the Open Championship would suit your game well.
Yep, never did. One of the things that's regrettable for me, but there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I was prepared. I went over there, did the work, put it in. I guess I would have had to have maybe spent a year in Europe to learn how to play, because I've listened to Faldo do some analysis for the BBC on that, and how he would describe how this shot's supposed to be played was really remarkable around the greens and stuff like that. And this is what to do and how to do it. And 3 bumps up there, or you could fly it on. And I just didn't have enough experience. I went over there, and American style golf doesn't translate as well over there. That's why Watson, I remember he said he didn't like playing it at first, but he figured out a way to play it, and boy, did he figure it out well, right?
I mean, I feel bad for Stewart Cink because the year that he won, the entire world was rooting for Tom Watson.
Exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Watson was 59 that year.
You're probably right.
He was, because I want to say he was born the same year as my dad. I think he was 59. He was about to be 60. And I thought to myself, man, like Tiger always talked about like having a poster on your wall and the major champions, and he was always chasing Jack.
Yeah.
But you think about like the major champions, and you're like, okay, well, that's not going to change. Those names aren't going to change with the numbers. All those posters that were printed, if Tom Watson wins it that year, they have to fix those and change and add to another one.
Well, go to Turnberry now, and they've got, the bar, I forgot what they call it, but they've got, stuff up from the 77 shootout with Jack, that Tom beat Jack by a shot, right? What do they call that? The Duel in the Sun or something like that. And then, Tom had a real love affair and understanding of not only, Scottish and British golf, but really of Turnberry as well. I mean, he like knew every little nuance, every little bump and hump and where to play it. And like you said, it was too bad there really couldn't be 2 winners, Stewart and Tom, but that's not the way sports are.
So just thinking about it right now, and golf is an individual sport. Was there any player when you're coming up that kind of took you under his wing, just kind of gave you some advice?
Well, Jay Haas and Curtis. Jay was especially very nice to me when I first came out on tour. just through the relationship that he had Billy Harmon caddying for him. Billy's brothers, Butch, Dickie, and Craig was my longtime and still is my longtime teacher. So, that was very nice. I played some practice rounds with them, and they were great. I always looked up to Watson. Met Tom in 1980 when I qualified for Baltusrol, U.S. Open there that Jack won. I was an amateur and met Tom on the putting green. Wouldn't know it now, but I had a lot of hair and it was all red, just like Tom, freckles and all that. So that was one of my goals for the week after I qualified, was to meet Tom Watson that week.
So what happened when you met him?
Well, I mean, I'm sure I didn't say anything. I was, awestruck and just kind of didn't do anything. But he was very nice and kind to me, and and then it's full circle, right? Now all of a sudden we're, I would say, good friends and communicate. And saw him last week in Houston and had a nice chat with him, and just got married to Dorothy, and he's very happy. So that's fantastic.
You ever think to yourself, okay, so I met the person I kind of grew up idolizing. I played golf and I got to watch Michael Jordan play basketball all the time. And hopefully we play golf again in the near future in Florida. I know Jack Nicklaus. I know all these guys. I know Tiger Woods. Life hasn't been so bad.
Oh, I never said life was bad. I can tell you that. But no, it's been way beyond any expectations I would have ever imagined. My dad took me in 1968. We lived on the west side of town in Rochester, and Oak Hill's over on the east side, and drove over there for the U.S. Open and practice round. And he loved Arnold. Of course, everybody loved Arnold. And got out of the car, and I said, "Dad, the fairways here are better than the greens we play on." He said, "This is real golf, son. This is real golf." And we went out, and I just saw the whole grandeur and the bigness, I guess you could say, of the place and the event. Never seen anything like that. Let alone basically 1968, 12 years later, qualified for it. It's insane, And then I played with Arnold Palmer numerous times. I actually played with Arnold Palmer, and I say that because I played with him in the PGA as defending champion in 1989.
Oh, wow.
They do some cool stuff. Like at the Masters, the 4 major champions are listed top 4 on the board starting on Thursday. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
U.S. Open was at Oak Hill in 1989. I played with the 2 previous winners of the majors there. Some guys named Nicklaus and Trevino. Pretty nice pair. Right? Go to the PGA in Chicago where my wife's from, and that. We're playing at Kemper Lakes, and I get paired with Larry Nelson and Arnold Palmer. And Arnold, the first day, when I say I played with Arnold Palmer, I played with Arnold Palmer. I played with the man. He got, just like Jack at the 86 Masters, he got it going. I think he birdied, I got to look this up again. I think he birdied par 1, 2, and 3, birdied 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Pars 9, it's birdie on 10, stuffs it in there somewhere else to take the lead solo. Shoots 68 or 69, but I saw the man. It was, excluding winning the PGA, that's my greatest golf moment, to see Arnold Palmer.
That is so cool.
And I should have the round memorized, and he made the cut. Probably, I'm going to guess, educated guess, that was the last regular tour event he made a cut at. But he was dynamic. I mean, he went from probably 55 years old at the time, or 1989, give or take. I mean, he went from 55 to 35, and hammering drives out there, and irons close, and making putts. It was unbelievable.
And you saw Arnie's army, I imagine, just go nuts.
Hey, let me tell you, I'm not embellishing. We made the turn. Every member of the press corps left the press room and went out and followed us on the back nine. Now that doesn't happen. Every one of them. There wasn't a person in there. He was the story that day. Didn't matter what anybody else did. He was the story.
You said your dad, like that was your dad's favorite golfer.
Yeah.
When you played with him a couple times, was your dad ever in attendance to witness it?
No. But Arnold did come to a charity event that Joey Sindelar and I hosted in Rochester, and Arnold showed up for 4 of us to play, and my dad was there for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Okay, so we go from Arnold the King to Tiger. Compare Arnie's army to Tiger's just crowds.
I don't think it's going to... I mean, the crowds are as vociferous for Tiger as Arnold, but I mean, Arnie was bringing golf to the masses, right? And to the public. And just he had a certain way about him with the way he finished, and he'd do the skywriting up there and the whole thing and kind of cocked the head. Tiger had that similar flair, when he really tried to hit one hard and body would release and the club head. They were both dynamic. Crowds were very similar. And then, of course, you got Jack, right?
Right.
Arguably the greatest player of all time. I mean, everybody can take a different position and make their point, but in the meantime, Jack just did it with everything. Great putter, long ball, kept the ball in play, didn't make mistakes, thoughtful out there. So to meet all of these type of players and have a relationship with them, absolutely stunning for me to look back on that. I mean, Jack asked me to be his lone assistant captain 3 consecutive President's Cups. It's unbelievable. So been lucky.
So you mentioned the President's Cups, and you're the lone assistant captain for Jack Nicklaus. In 2012, for the Ryder Cup, you're an assistant captain for Davis Love, and it's in Chicago at Medinah. Don't want to bring up bad memories, but the Miracle at Medinah for Europe, kind of payback for '99 at the Country Club. But what was that experience like? Just being part of that, being part of Davis's team, and trying to rally the troops.
Well, I had some experience in 2010. I was a assistant for Corey over in Wales, so I kind of got a vibe for the grand scale of things, shall we say. I mean, I think it's the biggest event in golf. I think I can say that with, at least I feel it is, because you're playing for pride, right? You're not worrying about some prize money or whatever, and that. So it's a different vibe. It was great in Chicago. Obviously, the result didn't turn out the way we thought. We couldn't get any of our flags out there on the leaderboard, and everybody's Monday morning quarterback. Everybody did the best they could. There was a few key shots that went their way, and that's usually the way it is in a Ryder Cup. 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I remember Scott Verplank saying Sergio sculled this chip, and it's going to be off the green and hit the pin and went in. And that was the swing of he's going to lose the hole and he wins the hole, and I don't know, does he win the match 1-up? So I mean, there's all these little things that happen that end up being meaningful at the end of the event. But it was a somber locker room, as it should have been. But the guys gave it their all. That's all you can ask. And if that doesn't, satisfy you as a fan, well, then you're not much of a fan.
On the flip side, I can remember being in college, watching the Ryder Cup at the Country Club, and not leaving my bed all day as the U.S. is making this comeback. And when Justin Leonard makes that putt, I called my dad. My brother called my dad. We get on a three-way phone call, and we're all just going nuts. I mean, I never got out of my boxers that day. I never left my bed.
And, you know, you look at that putt, and there was such emotion, and Ben was dealing with a lot of things the previous couple of months with internal issues with the team, and, you know, we won't go down that road, but you can research it if you want. But there was all this emotion, and I was there early in the week, and you could just sense that everybody was a little tense. So Justin makes that. Now, one thing golfers are very good about is they're cognizant about where they are and what's going on with their opponents. The whole team lost their mind, and Jose still had a putt. Mm-hmm. And they're running in his line, and you know, to Jose's credit, he didn't make a big deal of it. Nobody on the European team did, but that's how this release of emotions when Justin made that putt affected the team. Yeah. And the guys they buy in more for the Ryder Cup in that than any event I think they'll ever play in their life.
Yeah, I agree. It's this year's Ryder Cup at Bethpage.
It's gonna be crazy.
Crazy because it's New York. And then the European team is going to be really strong. This is going to be quite the event come September.
Yes, it will. That's all I can say. It's going to be crazy. You're going to see some unbelievable golf. And let's just hope everybody's all happy at the end of this thing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the end of this thing, every podcast I do, I like to end with a segment called This Just In. And it's just rapid fire questions, just to get your thoughts. So the tournament that keeps you up at night to this day.
Tournament that keeps me up at night. Well, I don't think there's anyone that keeps me up, but the one that's a bummer was the 87 players.
Okay. Favorite golf course?
Sunningdale, no question about it. Sunningdale over in London, Old. Favorite golf course ever.
Wow.
They're playing the Senior Open Championship there this year, and might be my last rounds.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right, top 5 golf courses in the world.
Well, Sunningdale, Pebble Beach. I'm an old style guy. I thought Port Rush was spectacular. St. Andrews the more I played St. Andrews, the more I learned to appreciate it. And 5th, I mean, there's a plethora of golf courses. I might throw one out. One of the golf courses in North America that I fell in love with was Hamilton Golf Club in Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
It's a Harry Colt who did Sunningdale. It's a remarkable golf course. If you ever get a chance to play it, you need to go play it. But I mean, Riviera, Colonial, Harbor Town, I love. Who can forget about Augusta? I mean, there's a lot. We're on 5%, so
okay. Well, this is perfect.
Any more?
Best playing partner?
Jay Haas. No BS with him. Doesn't bother him if you play well and beat him. Just a quality man.
I know you're a wino. Favorite wine?
Favorite wine? I could go on a daily basis with, say, a Harlan, something like that. If I was going to go to the French, I would go with Lafitte. If I was going to go to Australia, I'd go with Grange. I think those are pretty good starts.
All right. And your favorite TV show?
Oh, there's so many, but the comedy ones we saw a skit the other day, WKRP in Cincinnati with the turkeys, Cheers, Frasier, 2.5 Men. We watched it every night. It's hysterical.
I love it. You forgot Seinfeld for me, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, well that's another favorite. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's
Well, Slew, I appreciate this more than you know. I loved getting to work with you in 2019 at that U.S. Open, and we just clicked right away. And I'm so happy that this friendship has maintained itself all these years later, and that we still get to work together. So
so
I'm looking
yeah, I
forward
can't
to
wait.
seeing you. And hopefully when I get back down to Florida, you set up that game for me, you, and Michael.
Sounds good.
All right,
All
thanks,
right,
Lou.
we'll see you.
Appreciate it.